Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Muhi Khwaja with American Muslim Community Foundation, and today we have with us Hani Al-madhoun. He is a community activist, a loyal son of Palestine, and someone who I have spent some time with and just really appreciate and think that everybody needs to hear from Hani about his story, what he's doing, and all the fantastic work and why the community needs to support him more. I'll let him share his, official titles and everything that he does because I wouldn't be able to do it justice, but I know he's going to downplay it as well, but I'll hype him up later. So welcome to the show, Hani.
Well, Assalamu alaikum, Jazakallah khair, Mahi. Good to see you. Last time I think you and I were in Seattle sipping coffee from your thermos. That was very nice. It was like Fajr.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be connected with you again here in this virtual space. I call myself a full-time Palestinian. That's how I like to be identified. I do a lot and not enough, obviously. I am officially the Senior Director of Philanthropy at UNRWA USA, UNRWA USA. That is the largest human, supports the work of UNRWA, which is the largest humanitarian actor inside Gaza. I also, on the side, my side hustle is the Gaza Soup Kitchen that we started with our family, because basically I got tired from asking for favors to keep my family from starving. And we did that. We were hoping to just feed our neighborhood and horrible things happened, and then we expanded to 10 locations. Uh, it's a lot, but heartbroken over the genocide and the nightmare in Gaza. And if I wasn't doing this kind of philanthropic work for Gaza, I would probably be self-medicating. And that's the simple truth. This is really
Yeah.
the work you and I do that gives us a little bit of inner peace. And I'll leave it there.
Um, Absolutely. And I sympathize with you and the struggles that your family, your people are going through. It's hard enough for me, somebody who's a bystander, and I can't imagine what it's like for you who have seen family members pass and the distance and not being able to be there. And my heart goes out to you, Annie. It really does. And I think everybody needs to know a Palestinian in order to really see and hear and feel and witness what is happening. I had the pleasure and privilege of visiting Palestine in April 2023. And seeing the wall is one thing. Seeing the IDF soldiers is another at checkpoints. It's something that you're just transported into another reality, and it's so unfair on so many levels. And you protest, you boycott, you donate, you pray. And for me, it's really hard even sometimes to remain hopeful. But the one thing that gets me through, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it as well, is a reliance on God, is a faith in God, is an understanding that judgment is with him alone. And I know it's a tough way to open up this conversation, but it's a tough reality as well. So I don't want to sugarcoat anything. But I just want to ask, and we'll get into some history of yourself and the organizations and stuff. But first and foremost, you know, you mentioned doing the work keeps you busy, doing the work keeps you focused, but just on a brother to brother level and heart to heart level, like how are you doing? How do you remain hopeful? Um, yeah.
Uh, yeah, this is very deep, Mahi. It's hard. I tell you, my faith is not where it used to be because of all the stuff we've seen. We grew up, Muhi, reading about the horrors the Crusaders did in Al-Aqsa, in Jerusalem. We grew up reading about the Mongols, the horrors they did in Iraq and Syria and everywhere, pretty much in Egypt even. And this, just something we've never imagined that could happen. It's being live streamed. It's the horrors that everybody in Gaza have seen, the horrors my family experienced, the helplessness, the desperate moments, the injustice on top of an injustice where even you cannot bury your dead. You're too scared that you were, I wrote sometimes that the dead can't bury the dead, only the living can. And in Gaza, this is impossible. And you bury people more than once because oftentimes you could get to the cemetery, kids being burned in ambulances and killed and shot, and we've seen it all.
Yeah,
This is happening. Like even Hollywood movies did not get to the level of cruelty. Every year they make a movie about the historic events of the past, and everybody weeps and what I could have done, what I could have done, and maybe just now people are turning around. Now
yeah.
you're seeing more people speaking out. It became safe. Like it's just sad because we've been seeing this. And I was in Gaza about 7 weeks before this genocide began. So I saw Gaza,
Mhm.
my family peak season,
Yeah,
and now it's gone. And not only that, but the people we know, the people we hang out with, many of them are dead and some of them are living, but dead inside. And you wonder, where is Allah from all this? This is
Allah.
you still have your faith, you still do your salat, and but the iman is shaking, and it is easy to say your brother is in the Jannah, or you're like, yes, but they did not want to be like they wanted to be with us, and then
Yeah.
eventually they will go, and then they were killed. First, my brother Majid, like few weeks into the genocide, and then in November, a year after Majid, Mahmoud, and my friend Amjad 2 weeks ago, and his friend and their friend. And you're watching. And the worst part, Muhi, are the lies. They're telling you, the Israelis are saying there is no famine in Gaza. And I'm like, in what planet do you live? And then
Yeah.
today we shared footage from the IDF showing that they were helping Gaza give food. And guess what? They stole footage from the Gaza soup kitchen. Not only did they assassinate the top chef, Chef Mahmoud, but they dare to use the work that he's built to give themselves credit. We work despite of them. They don't help us. We don't coordinate with them. The food we get, they have nothing to do with. And now they want to take credit for this. I'll stop there.
That's remarkable on one hand and despicable on another. It's I remember your posts and so many of them that you share so eloquently, so beautifully. For those of you that don't know Hani, follow him on LinkedIn, follow him on Facebook. He posts regularly the stories of the people who are making a difference. And if you're familiar with platforms like Humans of New York, this is almost like Humans of Palestine, Humans of Gaza. And it's just, you get to see a glimpse in the life of what's going on during this genocide. Um, I appreciate you sharing, and you've lost your brothers. They're even your father was in the hospital recently. Hopefully he's on the mend. There's so many cousins and other families, and we've heard the stories of other lineage of families being wiped out. And there's nothing more than erasure or genocide, or we've been screaming from the opportunities that we have, whether it's writing an op-ed or posting on socials, pleading with our government to not fund more tax dollars to Israel. yeah, there is just a sense of hopelessness. And what gives me some direction and some hope in addition to the faith piece, and I understand the iman is tough. Even without a genocide, iman is tough. And you add that to it, it's even that much more harder. And you're personally going through it, seeing your family. So my heart goes out to you, Hani. Um, and
I mean, Muhi, you see the picture of the kid we put yesterday. He looks like
yeah,
he's 90 years old. He's a child. He's like probably not even 10. He's
yeah,
fading away. He looks like my grandpa. That's how bad this is real. And this is not AI. We have people who tell these stories. That's the beauty of the work that we strive to do. Not only that we're building and trying to help the community, we're also documenting the genocide. That's the byproduct from hiring storytellers who are itching
yeah,
to tell these stories. And this is key. This is the one lesson we're learning. And you cannot imagine how much of an impact this have had on people. You know, Hamoudi, that's one story where
yeah.
people like invested. Like,
How are his cats doing?
member of the government like ask about Hamoudi, and I'm like, this is insane. And people just, we know it's a hellish situation, but they like to see this kid smile with his killings. And that's one of many
Absolutely.
stories. And we don't have to be perfect victims, but this is just insane. You know, it gives me joy that a lot of imams and masjids come and support the Gaza Soup Kitchen. And equally, it gives me joy that 700 rabbis signed in a letter to bring aid into Gaza. And a lot
Yeah,
of that aid is going to organizations like, UNRWA. But it's not easy. UNRWA is being essentially blacklisted by the Israeli army based on allegations they made up. And I say this because these are serious allegations, but
yeah.
they've never given a shred of evidence. What they're good at is go to write a letter at the magazine in a Wall Street journal and just share allegations, zero evidence. They've never shared any allegations. But guess what? UNRWA remains in Gaza, remains on the ground, doing what they can, which is every day, 15,000 people go to UNRWA's clinic. That's the size of Madison
Wow.
Square Garden, 15,000 patient visits. It's hard, but they do it. 30,000 kids are some sort of learning program in Gaza. We can't help the 400,000 kids because most of the schools are shelters, but that's UNRWA. People are confused. UNRWA is worthy of your support because of these vicious attacks and lies. And I hope people understand this. Muhiya, I've heard from an amazing philanthropist, a Muslim American woman, who's like, I want to give this gift, but I can't give it to UNRWA. I really felt insulted because a
Hmm.
lot of those people who know and they're savvy and they make large gifts. And because based on allegations and misinformations, that's how you let the bad guys win. When you listen to their lies.
Well, another key point for that and is when you're able to give more strategically, you can still give to where you want to. And what I mean by that is through a donor advised fund, if that family decided to give to a donor advised fund and then to UNRWA, there'd be no issue. It wouldn't show up on their tax report. It wouldn't show up
I
on
mean,
anything.
it should. People know, people don't know this. Like, there
Yeah.
are people who work for the US government who still support UNRWA. And somehow people think we're still in good standing in the US government. We have our
Yeah.
IS letter, but these
Right.
people are just doing lies and misinformation and deception. They're spending millions of dollars to have you not to take action. That's why entities like the Muslim American Community Foundation and the DAFs are solutions. If you feel like, hey, I know I want to be anonymous, a lot of people
Hmm.
do that. I respect that and understand.
Yeah.
But also, Muhi and I are big about investing in our own institutions. That
Absolutely.
means, make your dollar stay in the community and cycle and then go do the work you needed to do. Because one,
100%.
does matter. People that organizations you support, I get donations from a group called the Jewish American Community Fund or things like that. That's great. But
Nice.
it tells
Yeah.
me who is, as a community, stands behind you. And this is really
Right.
key. people need to understand. You still help the organization. And in fact, if you're
Absolutely.
savvy enough, you could actually grow your philanthropic pot of money to support the charities you want to do. And that's why Muhi, that's the service you do in the community. And I hope more people know about the services you provide.
I mean, and likewise, like we make American Muslim Community Foundation makes gifts to Jewish Voice for Peace, right? They're doing fantastic work and making sure that they're combating the trope that standing up for Palestine is anti-Semitic, right? So
Yeah.
even just yeah, even just yesterday, I had a friend reach out to me saying, can you give me any resources? I have a friend about UNRWA whose friend of a friend made the allegation and claim that they do about UNRWA. And he was like, what can I share? And I was like, well, UNRWA, had a third party audit and cleared their name. And he was like, he shared that, but they're still pushing back with Zionist playbook tactics of saying that these are people who are part of Hamas and the issue of, um,
Look,
that
look,
they
these
should release
guys,
hostages and this, that, the other. Their playbook just unfortunately they can't see past the fact that they're starving an entire population.
I mean, look, no question hostages should be freed, but there is no excuse for the genocide going on in Gaza. I understand that the hostages could have been home by October 8th, 2023, but it seems the Israeli government wanted to inflict pain and not justice, revenge on Gaza. Look, back
Yeah,
to your point, Mohi. Uh, you may not know this. There's many reasons why the Gaza Soup Kitchen became a not-for-profit. You are one of two people who really inspired us to go from mutual aid society to become a not-for-profit. You've reached out and said, I want to support you. I want to cut you $1,000 check. Who do I write it to? And at the time, we had a fiscal sponsor. So we went
yeah,
and asked them, and they said yes. And then a gentleman, and a more American Muslim gentleman in Oklahoma City, said, I want to send you a $5,000 check. What's your cherry? And then that moment, you and this gentleman inspired us to go
alhamdulillah.
paperwork. There's a lot of reasons, but we're glad we did this because
Yeah,
that's how we're able to scale. And that's we are unlocking additional funds because we have workplace giving. That's one of the other giving vehicles.
100%.
Savvy donors need to know that you could make your money work for you. You could donate stocks. You could do it in many ways.
Yes,
But this is about helping Gaza and coming through. On my list, UNRWA USA is high on the list. That's a fact. This is not only making a difference. And by the way, the funds get to Gaza from our account right away. This is not a
yeah,
situation where just stashing money in the bank. If we stash it in our bank, I will tell you, keep it in your own bank account until we get it. That's the case because the Israelis' restrictions. The not-for-profits are good people. They want to do good work, but their hands are tied. So I would say UNRWA USA top of your list. If you want to hear these uh, identifiable victim stories and hear some, feel-good stories and see the reality, definitely follow the Gaza Soup Kitchen on Instagram.
yes,
And we're supported by many entities. We love our work that we do, but we also love that there is a mosque in Jersey. They always like call me every few weeks, Hani, come up after khutbah, we're gonna do a collection for you. I go,
perfect.
I love it. I became a first name basis with this masjid. And it's like not even Jersey where a lot of people go, like Central Jersey on the
For
coast.
sure.
So,
Yeah,
and that's sort of the heartwarming stories from our community, and that's why we are a very generous bunch. And Mohi, you know that the Muslim Americans give more from their money based on their numbers. Somebody did the statistics where we're like
yeah,
1% of the population, but we give a lot more than that.
sure.
Getting this right?
Yeah, so Muslim Philanthropy Initiative at Indiana University, they have some studies with the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding on American Muslim zakat. And Muslims are about 1% of the population, but they're giving about, in 2023, the estimate was $4 billion, right? So Giving USA is a report that talks about American philanthropy overall. So their report just came out for 2024 statistics. So we'll see how the American Muslim community pairs up. But I think
It's a
that's one,
lot more. It's a lot
yeah,
more. We're
absolutely.
cash-based economy. the Zelle,
Yeah.
the Venmo, the like, here's $100 in a check in an envelope. So it's
And person to person, right? It's things that aren't being calculated on a 990, right? So just looking at the 990 impact, it was 4 billion in 2023. So I can only imagine that Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, direct bank transfers, Zelle to individuals. Like I know so many people who would go on mission trips and they would collect on their own and then distribute on their own because, maybe they were carrying $10,000 of cash with them as they traveled or something like that. And, I'm a proponent of send it through a nonprofit um, because you want transparency. But if it's somebody that you trust, absolutely give it to the person, have them distribute it in a means like if they were going on a mission trip in Jordan or Lebanon or Syria and they were helping displaced Palestinians in those communities. I know many people who do that.
I always encourage people to invest in the institution. It's a lot more
Absolutely.
transparency. I know we feel frustrated sometimes, but at the end, it's better to work with the institution.
Yes.
If you know family members, definitely give all the cash you need. But
Yeah.
the reason why we pivoted to become a not-for-profit because no personal account is able to handle all the tractions that or the transactions that came from
And
people.
that for trust there should be accountability, right? You have a board of directors that you report to. All of those checks and balances exist. And I personally, after this, the first thing I'm going to do after we wrap is make a gift to Gaza Soup Kitchen and to UNRWA USA. So just a little what I can, $100 each. I encourage anybody who's listening to make a meaningful gift of what they can do to support Hani's very important work. Let's switch and talk more about you. Tell us about Hani. How did Hani become Hani?
Huh. Uh, my wife is not here, so I could brag a little bit. Alhamdulillah. So I've been in this space for a while, for about 20 years in the not-for-profit space. I wasn't ever considering being a fundraiser as a career choice. I wanted to work at the World Bank, never get that opportunity, but I got a job to work in civil rights at ADC. And then I did a stint at the Jerusalem Fund for a while. And then I went to Anira, another great outfit,
Mhm.
worked there for a few years, and that's where really honed my fundraising skills and became pivoted toward really professional fundraising. And then I did a stint with a group called Muslim Advocates for a few months in the first Trump era. And then UNRWA USA was hiring, and I was so thrilled to have that UNRWA connection because my dad worked for UNRWA. He used to be a teacher. My grandpa worked for UNRWA. And remember, I worked for UNRWA USA, the entity that supports UNRWA. We're not the agency. We just raise money and advocate and organize for them. And and then I this genocide happened, and then my role morphed a little bit as a community, more a public figure. Became very, I first got a call from the White House in the first week, and I'm like, I didn't want to go. Use four-letter words. Then I was convinced, like, hey, how many people from Gaza were going to be in the room? I went to a few more and more, but that was a really complete waste of time. And they will tell you now that they were not genuine about anything. They were just checking the box. And then, written a lot of media engagements. And, it's always from the heart. You learn in fundraising that numbers numb and story is store. And that's where my comfort, just writing a lot. And it takes a lot of energy because sometimes my rage is released when I write and capture the thoughts that I have. And that was an amazing outlet for me because there is a lot of grieving. And then if I think of something or I talk to my mom, she gives me a story, or my dad, I just have to capture it so people understand the details. It's really the details that matter. Like we don't think about it. My mom was celebrating that the house may have missed most of the walls, but there is a toilet that's working. So that was a big achievement. We don't think about these basic needs, or like having water come from the faucet, not from a gallon or a jug. So you capture those, and by the support of my colleagues, our executive director, Mara Cronenfeld, and Malayla Mukhaiber. They've always been supportive. And I was able to do more. And then my brother was killed. Then it becomes like, hey, how do you write about that? And a lot of people, Venmo, Zelle, Hani, here's $1,000, here's $2,000. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And we started the soup kitchen, and it became this big thing that's really managed to be probably one of the few lights that we're on in Gaza, where everybody was just waiting, and we just hired daredevils to go find food. Can you imagine? You have to hire like Evil Knievel sort of characters who go risk their lives to get you food,
Yeah.
because that's what they want to do. They want to survive. And we just tell them go, and they go to places, whether it's foraging in the winter, or finding zucchinis and eggplants in the summer, or just buying a lot of lentils, or, because everything, there is no supermarkets in Gaza, remember? And you just have to be like, you have a lentils dealer, you have a rice dealer, like, "Ish, rice, you have, that's how it is."
Yeah.
Because people, they cannot announce they have these things because they fear for their safety. So these guys really help us cook there. I'm a father. I have two amazing daughters, Zaina and Maryam. I try to engage them as much as I can, but they just want to be on their phones. They are hurting for Gaza. They spoke at two memorial services for my two siblings, and I hope they don't speak for a third one. This is
Yeah.
this is real.
Yeah.
But the Israelis are not going to be happy with us pushing back against them, against their fabrications. Just in that video that they said, hey, thanks to them, the Palestinians in Gaza are eating. So like, no, and anyway, so it's a lot, but I have a lot of support. I have a lot of people I work with every day. I have the works at IMEU, the Institute for Middle East Understanding, another
Yeah.
amazing organization worthy of your support. Rethink Media. And I tell people, yes, donate, but also advocate, show up, and then spend your dollars where your values are. There is no reason. My UNRWA USA hat is off now. There is no reason for the CEO of In-N-Out Hamburgers to tweet a statement in favor of Israel and never saying anything about the Palestinians. If
Right.
she took a stand, and now there is the chance for her to correct that, she has not done that. If you're going and giving business to these people, I think there is something wrong with us. The Palestinians are doing without water, and if you can't live without your animal style hamburger, there is something wrong with our community. Ali.
Right. Um, Another organization, and I'll also throw down 100 for IMEU. If Rethink is a charity, I don't know if they're a charity or a business, I'll look into it. But another one as well is Unity Labs. They do
I love
billboards.
that, Tasneem. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, she's the best. You want to
Tasneem
teleport
is
back?
wonderful.
I love it.
Just a powerhouse, somebody who worked in corporate marketing and is now using her talents for the support of Palestine. It's, another corporation
She
entity,
puts
Sequoia
billboards.
Capital.
She puts billboards
Yeah.
everywhere for
Times
Gaza.
Square.
We need that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think each billboard costs around $5,000. So if anybody's listening and wants to get a group of friends together, 10 friends throwing in $500, put a billboard up in LA, New York, San Francisco, and these high traffic areas to change the opinions of everyday Americans. And it's happening. The shift is turning. Everything that's on TikTok and Instagram and the next generation is fed up with what's happening. So that's also what gives me hope. But what I was going to say about Sequoia Capital, one of their partners and leaders also tweeted some negative comments around this rhetoric and narrative that Muslims shouldn't be trusted. And it's unfortunate because not only is it um, xenophobic, Islamophobic, everything phobic that you can think of. And if anti-Semitism is something that people care so much about, why is it that they don't care about the other phobias, right? Why is it always so one-sided? I get it. Hate should not be tolerated, but don't misconstrue hate for some propaganda item, right? Um, So I know th this is me like really processing what I've been feeling for so long as well. So I know that I'm really raw right now, but I appreciate the opportunity to share more because you're somebody who I deeply admire, deeply respect, Hani.
Right.
The conversations that we've had, I want to, what little platform that I have, I want it to be yours. I fully believe in what you're doing. And that's why when we were in Seattle for the same weekend and I had events scheduled, I said, yeah, of course. People need to hear what Hani is up to. And it was after Fajr and you were a trooper and you came. And I was late, right?
I want you to remember that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I called myself out on it before you called
The
me out
worst
on
part, the folks didn't know like who Hani is. I was like
it.
waiting for Mahi, and people are finished their prayer, looking at each other. I'm like, "Hey, you're looking for Mahi."
Yeah,
Good, that was a good group, and that's it inspired us to really feel better about the Gaza 5K, which is happening in Seattle this weekend.
excellent.
So we're thrilled about that.
Yeah, and I think those are a good group of young professionals that can tap into their corporate match, right? And if you're listening and you have a corporate match and you're not utilizing 100% of it, really think about all of the appreciated assets that you own. Don't give from your cash if you have appreciated assets. Um, Leave your cash for your lifestyle, for a home renovation, for a vacation, for putting into the stock market or investing and doing other things. Give from your appreciated assets, especially if your compensation is stock, right? You're working at a tech company and they're giving you a salary and then they're giving you bonuses and stock. Cash out that stock is in the form of a donation. You don't even cash it out. You transfer it to a charity, right? And then you claim your match on top of that. So not only are you avoiding a capital gains tax, you're making an impact, you're giving more than you would have, and it's a win-win for the charity, a win-win for you, and you get to make more impact at the end of the day. So these are little tricks and trades and why I'm so passionate about AMCF because it has so much potential. And you said it earlier about the Muslim economy. If we don't support our own institutions and we don't help organizations become institutions by setting up endowments, like I would love to see an endowment for Gaza Soup Kitchen. I would love to see an endowment for your local school, your local mosque, um, any cause that's important to anybody
It will
listening
take
right
the
now.
pressure off, by the way. So many of those
Yeah,
folks don't have the capacity or the know-how. You really make it easy for them, and it's just a matter of, you know, people become aware.
absolutely.
And then two, the trust. And I think it's both are there, but we need to work in that way because our community could do a lot more with the money we have. And I know a lot of
Yep.
people are stepping up. I see it. People want to give because they want to solve problems, you know. And
Right.
you've seen this, Muhi, content, and storytelling. Because everybody talks, everybody can run a digital ad, but if you don't show me, and that's what happened, it's an
Right.
age where you have to show me the updates daily from the
Hmm.
deal. If you don't show it to me, then it didn't happen. And that's one of the things we do. Trust at the Gaza Soup Kitchen, we do not use old stuff. Every morning, it's the footage from today. So this
And
is
so many,
right.
yeah, so many charities are just collecting and then contracting somebody else to do it. Right. And it's unfortunate. And, you know, I love all the institutional organizations, especially the longstanding ones in our community. I trust them, I give to them. But there's so many new offshoots in the last 5 years that just start up because they think they can do it better or more efficiently, but they're simply collecting and then giving to the same people that those long-term institutions also give to, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. There's some UK and Canadian and Australian
Mhm.
charities that come into the US, but at the end of the day, and I love these charities and I hope people support them, you feel their strength in marketing, their focus.
Sure.
They have 10
Yeah.
marketing staff, but then they have two
Mhm.
program staff. That doesn't sync up, right? This is just zooming out from our community, just in the space, in the
Yeah,
not-for-profit space. You find many amazing groups that have 10 marketers, but 2 program people. And that's something that talks about priorities. What you tolerate is what you promote, right? So this is one of the flags. And the other one is I'm all about working together. I love that people give
absolutely.
grants to organizations, but really know your strength. So a lot of charities, we've seen them treat Gaza as a flavor of the month. Like, hey,
Mhm.
Gaza's trending now. Oh, tomorrow it's Yemen and Sudan, great places that they need help.
Or
Or,
like,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Or you find places where they're just don't have the capacity or the experience, and they're just promoting as much as they can. The other one is there is the money that goes X, Y, and Z, and then less of it. And oftentimes our community wants to give, and then they're not going to give you a second gift because you did not
Right.
steward that or you did not show receipts. That's important for the younger
Absolutely.
generation. I see them; they give a donation and they put the
Mhm.
receipt on. Like that's really key for the younger donors.
The last critique that I'll share is like a country specific relief agency. Let's say they work only in Pakistan or they work only in another country. They automatically start fundraising for Palestine. And it's like, why? Number one, I understand why, but just tell people to donate to the organizations that are already working in Palestine, right?
That's how you inspire trust because, hey, I'm now working
Yeah,
at this place, give to these guys. I wish more of our community members would do this. At UNRWA USA, we're focused. We're Palestine.
absolutely.
We're Gaza, October 6th. We're Gaza, October 8th. We're always Gaza. The other one is
Mm-hmm.
flavor of the month. This is where like, hey, Gaza is trending now. I'm gonna join it. Then next time is, and the second one is I keep running away from this is the flavor of the month, and then also my gosh, my train of thought is not here. All right, let's switch topic and I'll come back to it.
That's fine. So what I'll say is AMCF started the Collaborative Fund for Palestine right after October 7th. We had a statement on Palestine, and I think statements on Palestine, sign-ons for other organizations to show support, telling their community to support organizations that are doing advocacy work in the US or relief work to support Palestinian refugees. That's what organizations should be doing, right? We're collecting and then redistributing to over 20 nonprofits that are focused in Palestine. And as a community foundation, that is exactly what we are set up to do, right?
Yeah.
So we have, alhamdulillah, distributed over $1 million to many organizations for Gaza, for Palestine. And that's what we'll continue to do. And I want to do more of it. And I will tell you, we received a grant from a private non-Muslim family who has a donor advised fund at Silicon Valley Community Foundation. They gave to AMCF because of our work in Palestine and what we do. So,
Also because of the relationship and they know Mahdi.
absolutely, absolutely.
The other thing I want to mention is that some charities deal with Gaza as if it's an earthquake. Those people are not worthy of your support. I don't care
Right,
how big they are. Gaza is not an earthquake, it's a man-made
right.
situation, and you have to speak about the well-being of the Palestinians. You cannot pretend, oh, they're starving and we're gonna give them food, and Israel could kill them tomorrow. We don't care. That's we've seen organizations do that. I'm not gonna name them and shame them. You know, you're smart
Mm-hmm.
if they're
Yeah,
not advocating for the people they want to serve. And the other one, Muhi, and I know we need to wrap up quickly, the people who use content from other folks. So this is,
right.
we've seen Gazans starve on camera and journalists and reporters. Your
Yeah,
charity cannot use that without compensating the people for these videos. I know
right.
there's one particular NGO in our community that uses these footage. They
That's
even
unfortunate.
use videos of my dead brother to pass it as their own. They've never apologized for that. So people need to use their own content or ask for permission. Not for
Absolutely.
profits, we can do better because it takes time. This content producer in Gaza, if you pay them $100, $200, that's only fair. But by grabbing stuff from the internet that's not yours, You're just really,
Absolutely.
this is theft. Mohi, tell me more.
The last thing I'll share is just a sincere thank you. After we met in Seattle in April 2023, or sorry, 2025, you shared videos with me of AMCF's logo at Gaza Soup Kitchen. And it meant the world to me that you did that. You didn't have to. I didn't ask anything. You simply did it. And it meant a lot to see that. So I just wanted to thank you again for that.
Well, I appreciate. We love doing this. Our team loves to feel they're not alone. They always like to support those who support us, and I thought it was good. They really feel excited when other people are thinking about them. That's part of it. But also, you've been doing a lot for Gaza. I just want to leave with this. Yemen and Sudan are hurting. Syria, please help. Gaza are hurting. Palestine is hurting. But remember, Palestine is a matter of aqidah. This is
Yeah,
where the big, this is where the distinction is. This is we have an obligation to support from our own faith and our own grounding in reality. I'll mention this. I rarely talk about this, but I'll say this. Palestine is the only place where Sayyidina Umar went to go when they opened Palestine, when the Muslim army took over Palestine.
mm,
It's the only place he went to go and supervise this. He did not do this to Egypt. He did not do this to Syria. But the point is, we knew the significance of this move. Salat was mandated on us in Al-Aqsa Mosque from Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. So people need to remember that. I know sometimes we get fed up like, hey, Bangladesh is hurting, please help Bangladesh. But that's a distinction that only Palestine had. And correct me if I'm wrong, Wahi. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
absolutely. He has a gate named after him there. I went and visited and saw it, and it's just remarkable. Not only the history, I got to pray Laylatul Qadr in 2023 at Al Aqsa.
Mm.
But again, you see the checkpoints, you see the people, the resilience, the beauty, the charm through it all. And my sincerest wish is that Palestine will be free. I pray to God that He alleviates the pain and the suffering of the Palestinian people. And I only wish you the best, Hani. I love you like a brother. I hope you know that. And thank you so much for being on the Muslim Philanthropy podcast.
Jazakallah khair and keep up the good work. Assalamu alaikum.
Appreciate you.
Habib.
So.